So, the Giants just shipped Darren Waller off to Miami, and if you're sitting there thinking this doesn't matter to us Raiders fans, you're dead wrong. This move has huge implications for what happens with Michael Mayer, and honestly, it tells us a lot about where both these tight ends really stand in the league right now. Look, I know some of you are going to roll your eyes when I bring up Waller again. The guy's been out of silver and black for a while now. But here's the thing. This trade directly impacts our current situation with Mayer, and if you've been following the rumors about Miami wanting our young tight end, you need to pay attention to what just went down. Drop a comment below and let me know. Do you think the Raiders should trade Michael Mayer, or are we better off keeping him and seeing what he develops into? I'm curious where you all stand on this. What's up, buddies? Welcome back. If you are new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We cover all AFC West news here on this channel. Here's what actually happened. Miami sent a 6th-round pick in 2026 to the Giants and got back Waller plus a conditional 7th in 2027. They're paying him up to $5 million in incentives, but realistically, it's a prove-it deal. Waller's coming out of retirement after sitting out last season completely. Now, here's where it gets interesting for us. Miami has been reportedly very interested in trading for Michael Mayer. We're talking about a team that just traded away Jonnu Smith and has arguably the worst tight end room in the entire NFL. Even with Waller now on their roster, they're still probably looking at one of the weakest position groups in the league. But let's be real about what they got in Waller. This isn't the same guy who put up those monster numbers for us back in 2020. We're talking about a player who's missed 36 games over the past 4 seasons. That's 9 games per year on average. And that's including last year when he didn't play at all because he retired. The guy's going to be 33 in September. He's got chronic hamstring issues, SI joint problems, back problems. The list goes on. I've been watching this league long enough to know when a player is more what if than reality. And right now, Waller is the definition of a what if player. What if he stays healthy? What if he's mentally locked in? What if he can recapture even half of what he used to be? Those are a lot of ifs for a team trying to build something sustainable. Here's my take, and I know some of you aren't going to like this. Michael Mayer is better than Darren Waller right now. Not a peak Waller, but a current Waller. If I'm building a roster for the next 3 years, I'm taking Mayer every single time. The kid's played 25 games in his first 2 seasons compared to Waller's 18 in his first 2 years in the league. Availability matters, especially at a position where you need physicality every single snap. And that brings up another point that Miami probably isn't thinking about enough. They're getting a receiving threat in Waller, sure, but what about the dirty work? What about the blocking that wins games in December and January? Mayer brings that element. He's not just a pass catcher who disappears when you need him to move a linebacker or seal the edge. Miami's already soft up front, and adding a guy who can't or won't block consistently isn't solving their real problems. The timing of this trade is interesting too. Miami didn't wait to see if they could land Mayer first. They went out and grabbed Waller almost like they were panicking about their tight end situation. It's like they realized how bad their room really was and decided to take the first available option, even if it wasn't their ideal solution. But here's where I think Miami might still make a move for Mayer: depth and insurance. Think about it. You just traded for a guy who retired last season and has a history of missing significant time. Are you really going to put all your eggs in that basket, having both Waller and Mayer gives them options? If Waller can't stay on the field, they've got a young, reliable option in Mayer. If Waller does stay healthy, they've got 2 completely different skill sets they can utilize. From a money standpoint, it makes sense too. Mayer would cost them about $1.6 million this year and $2 million in 2026. That's $3.6 million total over 2 years for a former 2nd-round pick who's still developing. Compare that to potentially paying Waller the full $5 million if he hits his incentives, and suddenly having both guys don't look so expensive. The Raiders' perspective is interesting here too. Our leverage in any Mayer trade just took a hit. Miami doesn't look as desperate now that they've got Waller in the building. They can play hardball in any negotiations because they're not staring at a completely empty tight end room anymore. That probably means we're not getting as much in return for Mayer as we might have a week ago. But let's think about what this means for our team. Are we really better off trading away a young tight end who's still on his rookie deal? Mayer's shown flashes, and tight ends notoriously take time to develop in this league. The position is so different from college to the pros that most guys need at least 2 or 3 years to really figure it out. Look at our offensive system, too. We've been trying to establish more of a physical running game, and Mayer fits that identity better than a lot of the flashier names out there. He's not going to wow you with his route running or his speed, but he'll move people in the trenches and give our running backs cleaner holes to work with. The other factor nobody's talking about is leadership and culture. Mayer's been nothing but professional since he got here. No drama, no off-field issues, just shows up and works. In a league where you never know what you're going to get from players personally, having guys who handle their business the right way matters more than people realize. Miami's going to find out pretty quickly what they really got in Waller. If he can stay healthy and focused, they might have found a steal. But if he starts missing games or dealing with the same issues that have followed him around for years, they're going to be right back where they started, looking for tight end help. That's where the Mayer situation gets really interesting. If Waller struggles or gets hurt early in the season, Miami's going to be calling the Raiders again. And at that point, we might have more leverage because they'll be desperate again. It's almost like we're better off waiting to see how Waller performs before making any decisions about trading our young tight end. The broader lesson here is about team building and taking calculated risks. Miami took a flyer on a guy with talent but significant question marks. That's fine for depth, but it shouldn't be your primary plan at any position. The Raiders, on the other hand, have a young player with upside who's been available and productive when called upon. Here's what I think will happen next. Miami keeps both guys if they can work out a Mayer trade. Waller becomes their receiving threat when healthy, and Mayer handles the dirty work and serves as insurance. If they can't get Mayer, they're going to be hoping Waller can stay on the field for 16 to 17 games, which seems like a pretty big gamble based on his recent history. For us, this whole situation is a reminder that depth and youth matter in this league. We've got a solid young tight end who's still developing, and teams around the league recognize that value. Whether we keep him or trade him, we're in a good position because other teams want what we have. The bottom line is this: Miami's desperation move for Waller doesn't change the fact that they still need help at tight end. If anything, it confirms how weak their position group really was, and that means Michael Mayer is still a valuable trade asset if the Raiders decide to move him. The price might have gone down a little, but the interest is still there. What do you think? Are the Raiders better off keeping Mayer and letting him develop, or should we cash in while his value is still high? Let me know in the comments, and make sure you're subscribed for more Raiders analysis like this.